I started my career as a social media manager in 2017, helping brands, businesses, and individuals to grow their social media platforms, build communities, and make sales. After doing this for a few years, learning and relearning different aspects of the role, I was ready for a new challenge. So, I went from being a social media manager to becoming a marketing associate at a fintech within a few years. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how I did it and how you can do it too, and also share with you the differences between both roles. So if it's something that you're interested in, you're in the right place. Make sure to watch this video till the very end, okay? Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jessica Fortunes. I am a marketing professional, and on this channel, I share my journey to becoming the very best marketing professional, as well as share tips and tricks for young professionals who want to start their career in marketing. So, if that's you, you're in the right place, and I'm happy to have you. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and let's get straight into it. Okay. Before going into how and why I made the transition, I'm going to talk about what my role as a social media manager entailed, who a social media manager is, and everything else in between. Side note, I've shared many detailed videos about my career as a social media manager on this channel, so the link is going to be on top here in the description below, and you can also check out my playlist, my career playlist. Yeah. Alright, back to the main gist. As a social media manager, I was in charge of managing the company's presence across various social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook being the major guys. TikTok wasn't really big then, so I didn't manage any TikTok account actually. But my day to day job was working on weekly or monthly content calendars, social media reporting, responding to comments and inquiries on social media, liaising with graphic guys for designs and content, working with customer service to make sure that everyone is responded to, developing social media strategies, posting, and the likes of them. And it was great. Like, it was great while it lasted. I had the opportunity to work with small businesses, and I also worked with tech startups. So it was a good mix, and I loved it while it lasted. But soon enough, I realized that for most organizations, particularly startups in Nigeria, there wasn't much growth for that role, and I wanted more for my career. I say Nigeria because when I went on LinkedIn and I saw people doing social media, I saw that there were head of social media, there were social media directors, director of social media, and all of that. And it was good and I liked it. The idea of that was great. But within Nigeria or in Nigeria and in startups especially, that did not exist. I was just going, or I felt like I was just going from social media manager to social media manager to social media manager, and I'm like, okay, that's it, enough. I'm done. I'm done. There's no growth here. And I know that for some organizations there are like ways to grow, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take my own growth into my own hand and I'm going to make the changes that I want and I'm going to do more for myself. So I decided to make the transition from being a social media person to a marketing person more because it was broader. I feel like social media is just one aspect of marketing and I wanted to do marketing like the full thing. Like I wanted to have an idea of the full thing before choosing which area. So I wanted to be more broad. So I wanted to do marketing. And so I made that transition. And also, I know that there are people who can go from social media to like design and product. That was actually the case for most people that I worked with at the time I was working in social media. Most people just went into other departments. And I remember that one of my bosses actually asked me, would you like to do that? Like go into another department? And I'm like, no, I really do like marketing and I want to grow here. So I wanted an opportunity to grow. And I figured that going fully into marketing and not just limiting myself in social media would allow me the opportunity to grow. So I did that. And thankfully, social media, working as a social media manager, gave me a lot of transferable skills
that I'll be talking about later in this video. Okay, so yeah, I transitioned.
So then, how did I make the transition? After working social media for like a few years from 2017, I knew that, social media is great, but within organizations, they were not really doing things that I wanted to do. It was like I was getting tired of it. I'm like, I'm not sure I want to stay here for so long again. I want to become something more. And I started doing my research, like, oh, looking at people that I liked, looking at Bozoma, and I'm like, I like this woman. I like what she's doing. What's she doing? And then I started to do my research. I was following women like Dupe from Transcorp now. Like, what did she do? And I was seeing that their background was in marketing and communications. And I love them. I'm not ashamed to tell you that I actually did my research on a number of women that I loved. And I found out that their careers were in marketing and communications. And I'm like, you know what? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do next. So I did my research. I fell in love with it. And then I found out, you know what? As a social media manager, I had some skills. I had some skills that were related to becoming what I wanted to be, which was get to the top. I think at that point, Buzoma was a CMO. And from them, I was like, I too, I want to be a CMO. So I found out that, okay, what skills do I have? I have these skills as a social media manager, which could be transferable to getting into marketing proper. Because remember that being a social media manager, I was already working within the communications and marketing department of an organization. So I was ready to make that transition. It was a bit easier, right?
Very quickly, here are some transferable skills. Number one, communication skills. As social media manager, I was always writing caption, writing to my customers, writing content. I was always writing and I was always speaking, either speaking to customers or speaking on Twitter spaces, on social media, asking questions. So I was very good at communicating. If I do say so myself, I'm a very good communicator. I'm able to communicate. Okay, so that's a skill that comes in handy, or it came in handy. And then next was reporting and data analysis. Like I mentioned, in my day-to-day role as social media manager, I was always doing what's that word? Monthly reports, weekly reports. What are the numbers? What are the numbers saying? What can we do with the numbers? How are we going to improve the numbers? My bosses needed numbers, and also it was to help us make better decisions, because when you look at the numbers, you analyze them, and then you find out ways you can use that information that you've gotten to make better decisions. And that's also something that I still do as a marketing person, so that came in handy. Another thing that came in handy was design. While I worked as a social media manager, in some roles I had to be the designer, using Canva to create designs. After a while, I stopped it because I'm like, nah, I'm not going to be your graphic guy and your social media manager. Let's split the role. After a while, I did that. But in the beginning, I had to create designs myself. And what that allowed me now, or what I realize now, is the fact that I have an eye for design. I can tell you, oh, these colors match, these colors don't match. That thing you put there, it's not really giving. Can we move it aside? And sometimes in a good mood, or when a designer is stressing me out, I can just sit down and say, I'm going to design this thing by myself. I can design my pitch deck. I can design my presentations. I can design, all of those things because of design. And these are skills that I got as a social media manager. So it's also very important. It's another transferable skill. Another thing is social listening and feedback from customers. As a social media manager, I was always on social media. What are people saying about the brand? Are they dragging us? Like online reputation management. What did we do? How can we solve this problem very quickly so that nobody's dragging us? How can we change negative perception to good perception? And that's still something that I do now as a marketing professional. So it's also another very important skill. And even sometimes I just go on social media to see what people are saying, so I can use it as a way to better the product that we have. So it's a very, very good skill. Social listening and getting feedback from customers. And finally, digital ads as well. Doing a few social media roles, I had to run ad, so it allowed me. I'm not very great at that, but I understand a few things about it. I'm in the process of actually learning that in detail. But yeah, these are some skills that I got as a social media manager that I was able to transfer into my next role, in the process of transitioning. You get what I mean, right? Yeah.
I decided it was time for me to get skills, right, to acquire knowledge. Because the good thing about being a social media manager is that you get a lot of skills, but then you also have some gaps. So I knew that I needed to fill the gaps if I wanted to go to the next level. So I started with Coursera actually. I did a course on Coursera, which was integrated marketing and communication. I really loved it. I finished it. And then I went on to do a few courses on Udemy. I'm not sure that I finished all of those, all of that, or if I even got certification for that. But I did a few things there just to get more knowledge, to understand what was going on and all of that. So I did that. And then I started to practice at work and try my hand here and there and follow certain people. But that was not enough. You know what I did? I decided, I'm going to go back to school, right? I decided I was going to go to school. I think that if you're a returning subscriber here, you already know how that went. So I went on to get a master's degree in media and communication from Pan Atlantic University, focusing majorly in marketing strategy. I wanted to, know how to, come up with marketing strategies. I think that for me was the peak. When I learned about marketing and all the ideas that they come up with, I'm like, who just sits down and come up with all the strategy of what to do, how to do, what to say, all of that. It was just very fascinating for me, and I'm like, that's where I want to major and that's what I want to know how to do. So I made sure to learn. I remember one person in class said one day, the way you ask questions, we already know that this is what you want to do. Like your questions in class just show that this is where you want to end up with. I was so focused on it. I paid so much attention. So I went to school to get the skill. So I'm just going to recap things that I did at this point. The first one was I had a goal. I had done a research, seen the people that I liked, what they were doing. And so I would say that if you want to make the transition, do your research, know the people that inspire you, have a bunch of people that inspire you, try to have an idea of what you're trying to get to and how you can get there. So, second thing is try to get the skills. I went back to school, but you don't have to go back to school. You can do Coursera, you can do Udemy, you can do Google Skills or certification. There are a couple of certifications, even a couple of online classes that you can take, but just make deliberate effort to actually get skills. I will tell you that even after my master's degree, I am still taking courses on Udemy. Yes, I'm also reading books about marketing, storytelling, so that I can keep improving. So going to school or getting a master's degree does not stop my learning process. It is part of my continuous learning process to becoming where I want to becoming who I want to become. So that's what I would tell you. I'll tell you to get the skills, and then that would lead me to the next thing that I did, applying the skills. So I got the skills. I remember that one day, really, while I was still in school, I put up a post on LinkedIn saying that anybody who was looking for a marketing associate, and I was willing to try. Like I randomly just put out a tweet. Sorry, a post on LinkedIn. I'm going to put a screenshot here just so you see it, even from when I put it up, because I knew that getting the skill was one thing, but next thing was I needed to practice. And at that point, I did not have like a role or a job. So I had left my job, or I wasn't at a job anymore. So I needed somewhere to help me practice. So that's the next thing. Once you have your skills, once you've learned a thing or two, what you need to do is you need to practice, right? You cannot just learn a skill and go and keep it. What's that Bible passage that says a light cannot be lit and covered? I'm not sure how we say it, but I'm sure that you get the idea, right? So basically, you need to practice. You can practice through internship. You can practice if you currently work at an organization, you can practice there. All you need to do, I would think, would be to mention to your line manager or your HR about your interest in working in marketing, and then talking about some skills that you have learned and how you want to practice it. And they might give you like an opportunity every now and then to shadow somebody, to work closely with somebody. But definitely you need to practice, because only by practicing do you get better. And I will say that from doing this for like how long now? I've been doing this for 8 months, going to 9 months now. I would say that I've seen myself continually improving. For me, I got an internship, and it afforded me the opportunity to practice and eventually convert that to a marketing associate role. For you, it might be different, but then just find an opportunity to practice. Okay. Now, the next tip I will tell you is to be patient, right? Even now, as I work as this role, I still know that I have a long way to go, because I have this grand goal that I'm trying to achieve. So it might take time, but I'm going to be patient with it. I'm going to enjoy the process of getting there. And I think that you should do the same too. So don't be in a haste to think that it's going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, but eventually we'll get there. That's what I believe. And so you have to believe the same too. Be patient with yourself. And the final tip is going to be surround yourself with people who do similar things as you, right? You can find them online, you can find them at your workplace, but basically surround yourself with people who are going through the same journey that you hope to go through. Because in having those people, I found that it's a form of motivation for me. It reminds me of where I'm trying to go to. And so I have people that inspire me online, like people who are already far ahead of me, and then people who were all on the same level and trying to grow. And then even helping people who are coming behind to say, okay, I'm helping you, because by doing that, I'm also applying myself and I'm learning more. I tell you that every time I have to make videos like this, I actually take time to reflect to make sure that I really know what I'm coming here to talk about, because I don't just want to say anything. I want to make sure that what I'm saying is very impactful. So it allows me to keep remembering what I know, and it allows me to stay on my toe. So that's something else that you need to do. Surround yourself, teach people, apply yourself, and eventually you'll get to where you're trying to get to. I hope that you found this video to be enlightening. You've learned a thing or two from my journey. And if you want to know more and you have more questions, drop them in the comment section and I will definitely get to them. Until next time, I'm Jessica Fortunes. Bye.